Okay, flow state. This is sort of an interesting one because I think I've partially answered it in the previous video, but I'll get a little more details. For this one, we're gonna go to the door. So yeah, you can see here that I've got my default template session open, which has all the standard sends and the inputs that I was previously mentioning. If you haven't seen that video, link's over there. But in Reaper and in many other doors, you can set up track templates, which is essentially a list of channels and even plugins and inputs that are routed in a very specific way. So for example, if I'm gonna go vocal tracking, there, I just open up a track template and I've got things set up. All of my inputs are set up according to the same input because let's assume that everyone's just doing comping multiple takes, leads 1, 2, 3, backing BGVs 1 and 2. Everything's already set up inside a vocal folder. And I've got an EQ and a de-esser as well as a compressor on this track template. This is really, really convenient, and it means that I don't have to set up all of that stuff all over again. If I want to get an entire rhythm section going, then I'll typically set up something like a bass and drum track template like this, give it a few seconds to process my command, and then bam, a whole bunch more. Now this is gonna start getting cluttered real quick, so I'm just gonna make this set up to one page. Of course. So here, likewise, I've got my bass channel set up to the appropriate input, all of my drums already pre-record enabled so that I don't have to individually enable a dozen mics or inputs. Everything that's routed to a stereo input is already done, and everything is pre-folded. Snare, toms, kick. The kick and the bass are already pre-routed to a limiter just for the sake of tracking, so everyone gets a nice punchy kick and bass all at once. So this is just enabling that fluidity that I was talking about in the last video. Just trying to make things go as smoothly as possible with as little friction and just making things feel a lot smoother. This also applies to software instruments. Say for example, Contact. If I pop open Contact, I wanna have all of my MIDI inputs as well as my audio outputs pre-routed and Contact ready to go. Now, this isn't the only software instrument I use, but it happens to be the one that's most convenient for my workflow. So, of course, here we can get into all of the sounds that I need, and they will be automatically pre-routed to the appropriate MIDI inputs and audio channel outputs. Track templates is probably the most effective part of how I like to make my flow state go, in addition to just having presets. So I know this is sort of a hot topic, but so another YouTuber that I follow, Audio Pills, he does the Bad Gear series. He makes a really good point with presets in a recent video, in that sometimes you just want to get started. Something just should look/sound good pretty much straight away. But knowing your tools really well does help. So for example, if I want sort of like a old school synth that's kind of on the cooler, cold side of things, I'm gonna reach for an FM synth, like say for example, Native Instruments FM8. If I want to have something that's a bit more traditional EDM 2000s style, I'm going to reach for Massive. If I want something that's, I'm just going to go to my instruments folder here. If I want a drum machine that's really, really quick and easy to use, I'll grab Battery. Now, I know this sounds like I'm shilling for Native Instruments, but this is the pack that I got way back when I was first starting. So it happens to be the pack of tools that I know best. And I think this comes back to the points that I was making earlier. If you know your tools well, you're going to use them a heck of a lot better than tools that might potentially sound better, but you're unfamiliar with. Friction, that stopping, that gap between you and the sound you want to make is going to injure your flow state the most. Whether it's track templates or knowing my tools and their various presets really, really well, that's no different to studying your amino acids, studying your fibers and tendons as any person in science, right? Like, to know your formulas. Likewise, you got to know your tools in audio production. If you liked what you heard in this video, or you felt like you got something out of this as a recommendation to your workflow, please drop a like. Comment what helps you achieve your flow state or continues and sustains that flow state, and share it to any of your friends who might be having a bit of a technical block or even a bit of a creative block.